Hello and welcome to this video on the externalities of production and consumption. So in this video we're going to look at externalities that arise from production and externalities that arise from consumption. So we've already really looked at our analysis that illustrates how we get or the impact of negative externalities. So negative externalities exist when we have external costs, and as a result we have overproduction of this particular product, and so we have a net welfare loss to society. We also have examples of positive externalities, where the existence of external benefits means that from society's perspective we would like more being produced, so we have an underproduction by the free market, and this gives rise to a net welfare gain that we could have if more was produced. So externalities, or a negative externality, is a cost that is suffered by a third party as a result of an economic transaction. The producer and the consumers are the first and second parties. The third parties are any individual, organisation, property owner or resource that is indirectly affected. Now some externalities like waste arise when we consume a good or service, while other negative externalities arise, like carbon emissions from factories, when we produce that good or service. So externalities from consumption, it's the act of consuming the product that has external costs or benefits, rather than the production of the good or service. Whereas externalities from production, it's the production process involved in producing the good or service that gives rise to the external costs or benefits, rather than the consumption, the consuming, the using of the actual good or service. So externalities from consumption, here are some examples. These are sometimes known as demerit goods. They're kind of goods that are not really good for us. For example, if we think about in the top right hand corner smoking, the actual production of cigarettes is not particularly harmful. It's the smoking of the cigarettes, the consuming of the cigarettes, that gives all the negative externalities to society, all the damage to health. If we think about alcohol, the actual production of alcohol, water and yeast and so on, doesn't really give as many negative externalities, but it's the consumption of alcohol. It's the behavior when you're drunk, it's the going to hospital. These are where the negative externalities arise, so from consuming the good or service. Again, something like loud music, it's not the production of music that is the problem here, it's the way in which it's being consumed, used, people playing it so loudly that it causes negative externalities for the neighbours. Externalities from production are when it's the actual production, the making of the good or service, that gives rise to the negative externalities. For example, producing power, it's not the consuming of the power that's the issue, it's the production process and the fact that it emits lots of carbon. For many chemical products, it's not the consuming of the product, it's the production process that gives off many pollutants that is the problem. The consumption of fish is actually quite good for you, but the production of fish can lead to overfishing, and so stocks are being used unsustainably. This is a negative externality. So here we'd say there are externalities from production, not from consumption of fish. So in this video we've looked at the distinction between externalities that arise from production and externalities that arise from consumption. That's it. Thanks very much for listening.